You are not hidden. There's never been a moment you were forgotten. You are not hopeless. Though you have been broken, your innocence stolen, I hear you whisper underneath your breath. I hear your SOS, your SOS. I will send out an army to find you in the middle of the darkest night. It's true, I will rescue you. There is no distance that cannot be covered over and over. You're not defenseless. I'll be your shelter, I'll be your armor. I hear you whisper underneath your breath. I hear your SOS, your SOS. I will send out an army to find you in the middle of the darkest night. It's true, I will rescue you. I will never stop marching to reach you in the middle of the hardest fight. It's true, I will rescue you. I hear the whisper underneath your breath. I hear you whisper you have nothing left. I will send out an army to find you in the middle of the darkest night. It's true, I will rescue you. I will never stop marching to reach you in the middle of the hardest fight. It's true, I will rescue you.
He is a magistrate judge in South Carolina. His name is James B. Gosnell Jr. He was arrested last week on September the 16th when authorities got a tip for CSAM. Here's his mugshot. So they trace it back to him. They go to his home. He ends up freely turning over this USB device, letting authorities know that there are hundreds of images. And they gather even more USB devices, cell phone, computers. And in all of that information and data that they gathered, they found a Telegram account that allegedly belongs to this man. Now, first of all, if you want to see and read all these documents for yourself, they're posted on my Substack. That should be in my profile where you can find it. But trigger warning. This is possibly the most vile thing I've ever read in my life. All right, I'm just going to go back to his mugshot because I don't even feel comfortable sharing those documents here. But in Telegram, they found messages. They opened up his phone and they went to his Telegram app. This was the account that was logged in. Not only did they find CSAM, where he's been purchasing CSAM, they also found multiple conversations where he admitted that he had also physically assaulted multiple children. I believe the youngest one I read was 2 weeks old. And y'all, according to these messages, one of these infants belonged to his neighbor. and it said that their babysitter stood him up, so he offered. This neighbor's child was a 5-month-old child, female child, and he has a message where he talks about performing this child and how he himself looks like a glazed donut 7 different times. There are other messages where he is communicating with an individual who is also into PDF things. And allegedly, he was in a relationship with this other individual. Now, I don't believe it specified whether that individual was a male or a female. Not that it matters, but there are communications between him and this other PDF where they are talking about James traveling to Florida to meet this individual, and they are planning to SA this other PDF's nephew's infant son. Okay, I'm really sorry. I'm going to share this. I marked out this part, but they're discussing this. And the magistrate judge replies back, I picked to the back of the head, scramble his brains. He stays alive for a few hours, but for the most part is brain dead. Y'all, if you choose to go look at these documents, please just use an abundance of caution. But that is not all. There is another incident where he discusses holding an infant. I think the baby was 2 months old. Of someone who lives in the neighborhood. He says he's sitting in the street in the neighborhood. He's holding this child, female child, in his lap, and he uses his finger. And that is not all. He has traveled internationally, allegedly traveled internationally multiple times. He even goes into detail in these Telegram messages about traveling to somewhere in Mexico and purchasing a 2-year-old and a 5-year-old from a mother who, according to these messages, was or is an addict. Just, I don't know what else to say. He was in court this afternoon for a bond hearing, and his attorney actually requested for a little bit more time, and so I believe he is supposed to have another bond hearing, which is supposed to be scheduled within the next 10 days. He is also the same magistrate judge who oversaw some of the Dylan Roof hearings and was reprimanded after he used a racial slur in the court. Y'all, I don't know what else to say. If you're a parent, do not allow anyone to have access to your children.
You chuck it on this one, you chuck it on your mother and you chuck it on your father. You chuck it on your brother and you chuck it on your sister. You chuck it on this one and you chuck it on me. Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? Nobody now give me no break. Police now give me no break. Now soldier now give me no break. Not even elder now give me no break. Hey, hey, bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? You chuck it on that one, you chuck it on this one, you chuck it on your mother and you chuck it on your father. You chuck it on your brother and you chuck it on your sister. You chuck it on this one and you chuck it on me. Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you?
The government swooped in and took your 7 kids in Louisville, Kentucky. A study says a staggering 1 in 3 children can expect a CPS investigation at some point during childhood. 1 in 3? That is just stunning.
Under the Adoption and Safe Families Act, every year the states have to take more children in order to receive an annual bonus. And every year when you have those children age out or they get adopted out, they get an additional bonus. Then they have to get more children. In over 80% of the cases that we're aware of, there's no crime. One would think, well, why aren't they in place with relatives? Well, the reason for this is the Title IV money, the big money, only flows out to the states when they're placed in foster care, not with relative placement. There's not much, if any, money that flows out that way. And ultimately, the American people are funding it, and they need to be made aware and move to action and to do something to stop it.
In my 9 years, we get the calls about these things all the time. Kids being taken from their parents by the government. Our boss's orders were to not cover it.
Tell me, what's wrong? You want to what? You want to go back home?
Hi, my name is Abigail Wyant. I'm a mother to 3 beautiful children, and in 2014, my entire world was flipped upside down. In September of 2014, I had taken my middle son to multiple ER visits. He was scheduled to get vaccines, which I declined, and the doctor called CPS on me. I finally had gotten his vaccines, which only made things worse while he was fighting an infection. He had gotten tubes in his ears. He had trouble with balancing, with talking. I went to several different specialists. After the tubes in his ears, he started to get sicker. Fast forward to the day before Thanksgiving in 2014, he was found unresponsive, and we did CPR on him in the home. My 4-year-old son was there to see that, which was very traumatic for him. And he died my middle son died at the hospital. 2 weeks later, my son and my daughter, 4 and 6 months at the time, were taken. It was within two weeks of Avery passing into state custody. I had a public defender because I figured, well, I don't need an attorney. They know I'm a good mom. They should just know. No, false. They didn't. I had family apply for custody, friends. I had no background of alcohol or drug addiction. It was a mess. I got a letter on my behalf stating that there was no signs of abuse. The courts didn't even look at it. They didn't even care. They knew exactly what they were doing. They were selling my children to get incentives and funding. So they were in foster care, and they have been with the same person for over 10 years. I have been denied visits, rights, anything, and it is extremely painful, and I wish this on no one. I really think we need to reform the law. The Clinton Act in 1997 needs really looked at. It's not right that they get more incentives if children are in foster care. That just gives them more incentive to take kids. Medical kidnapping is a thing. It's real. It happened to me, and I had to bury a child and lose 2 children in the process to the state. It's not right what's happening. Please help us. Please help the system. It's so corrupt. There's so many people that are not speaking out because they're scared. There's so many people that are wronged, all because of money, and because there's other people that want kids and they can't have kids of their own. Please help us.
My name is Christy Anderson. I am a mother of 3. This is my son Oliver. He's only 3 years old, but he's already faced more medical challenges than most adults will in a lifetime. On January 22nd, 2024, Oliver was admitted to Boston Children's Hospital for acute weight loss and gastrointestinal bleeding. On February 9th, he underwent what doctors called a series of routine procedures to help better understand his condition. But he emerged many hours later, not looking like himself. It wasn't until about 20 hours later, after an MRI was done, that the doctors confirmed Oliver had suffered multiple acute strokes and at least one vertebral dissection. It was documented that the cause of these strokes was related to the procedure. From that point, his health battles only grew worse. He experienced unexplained blood loss and required multiple blood transfusions. I did what any parent would do. I asked questions. I asked for second opinions. I asked for a transfer because I wanted to be sure my son was receiving the best care. Instead of acknowledging what happened, Boston Children's Hospital accused me of medical child abuse, an accusation made to cover up the strokes caused to my son. On June 26, 2024, DCF removed all 3 of my children. Just weeks later, the court dismissed the care and protection order for my 2 older children, and they were returned to me in August of 2024. I still have full custody of my 2 older children, proving that I am a fit parent. However, Oliver remains separated from me.
Mommy!
For over 15 months, I've been fighting in family court to bring Oliver home. No parent should ever face losing their child for speaking up. I am asking Congress to investigate, to hold hospitals accountable, and to ensure child protection agencies cannot separate families without actual evidence. Oliver deserves to be home, safe with his family. No other family should ever have to go through what mine has.
Good morning. Thank you, Congress, for letting me speak today and for listening to a kid like me. My name is Tristan Jacobs, and I'm 9 years old. I'm here to talk about my sister Tatiana. She's my little sister that I know since we were babies. I know that I'm not a grown-up, but I know when something is not fair. I know that my mom isn't mean and she doesn't hurt us or my sister. Even though she told the truth, the police didn't trust her and thought she was bad, but she wasn't. So sometimes I would try speaking up. Because of that, I lost fun times with my sister. I miss her a lot, and I used to play and laugh together because I always used to make her laugh. And now I've missed birthdays, holidays, and fun stuff we should have had shared. I feel sad when Tati is not with us. I don't understand why David is trying to lie to other people, and it feels like people don't let my sister be around me or my mom when we are both nice to her. People, please say yes to the Family Justice and Accountability Act 2025 by Francesca, Amato. Please help pass this bill for me. My sister and my mom is suffering, and I want my mom so we can be a happy family and we could have happy holidays, and God bless you. I know I'm not a grown-up, but I know that something's not fair for my mom because whenever she tries telling the truth to other people, the police be like, no, David's telling the truth. I know that my mom is not mean and she doesn't hurt me and my sister, or she doesn't rob, she doesn't drunk, she doesn't speed limit, she doesn't try to escape cops, and she never tries even thinking about crashing into somebody. And also, I miss my family because David keeps on trying to lie to the police and say, but she did that and she did this, and I just want our family to have a happily life, and so that we could just play together. Please say yes to the Family Justice and Accountability Act 2025 by Francesca and Amato. Thank you. Amen.
Look at the stars, look how they shine for you, and everything you do, they were all yellow. I came along, I wrote a song for you, and all the things you do, they were all yellow.
We are in a war right now. We're in a war. This is domestic terrorism. These people act under the color of law, but what they're actually doing is perpetuating crimes under the umbrella of their official position while having no lawful intent or purpose to their action.
Where the Supreme Court held that the intimate association between that of a parent and a child is a fundamental liberty that is protected by the First and the 14th Amendment. There is no greater form of assembly than that of a parent and a child, and when the state issues a policy or a law or financial incentive to forcibly separate children from their parents.
Our judiciary is issuing these orders with impunity that have no lawful effect and just have a criminal intent behind them.
So when the state of New York enacts a law in its inferior constitution that permits public officials and law enforcement officers, whom you all pay, to violate the Constitution of the United States, that is an emolument violation. It is illegal.
And until we, the people, stand up against this and we keep continuing to bring this obvious malfeasance and criminal activity of our judiciary to the people and make it know what's happening and hold them accountable, we're all going to continue to be enslaved.
I'm here today to notify you that you cannot continue to pay public officials to break the law. If a law enforcement officer goes out and assists in removing a child from a parent because of an unlawful void order of a judge, that is a violation. Paying people to disobey the law and commit crimes against us, it is illegal, it is unconstitutional, and it is a crime. So I'm asking you, honorable individuals, to please take a look at Clause 1, Amendment 5. Take a look at the First Amendment, the 14th Amendment, as well as Roberts versus United States J.C.'s, that was incorporated in 1984. Confirm what I'm saying to be true, and then direct your public officials, your law enforcement officers, your prosecuting attorneys, and your judges to act in a lawful, constitutional manner consistent with the obligations codified in the United States Constitution.
Huh? When are we going to the judge to see if I'm gonna go home or not?
I'm not sure, honey. I think in February, baby.
So I really want to go home.
I know you want to go home.
And I haven't heard
We're trying, honey. We're trying.
And I really want visits with Dad.
I know.
Welcome to Family Court. I would like to welcome everyone out to Family Court today. I am the Honorable Judge Roy Bean. I will be presiding over the destruction of your family. That's why we call it Family Court. The course of your trial will be very lengthy. These proceedings will not be a trial in the manner that you might expect. These cases will be conducted on a kangaroo court basis. During the upcoming months, I will be violating your rights left and right. So go ahead and get used to it now. I prefer for you to be as compliant as possible with all of my directives. You will have no choice because I will have plenty of backup. The police or sheriff's deputies are here to do all of my bidding. By the way, the cops will also provide backup for everything the CPS or DSS agents tell you. That's why they call them law enforcement. Actually, that is a misnomer because they will not actually be enforcing the law. They will be enforcing my orders. In reality, they will be violating the law as part and parcel of our family court racket. But that is just an aside, so do not quote me on that. In fact, do not mention or reveal to anyone what takes place during these proceedings. I am placing a gag order on you. I am ordering you not to reveal anything of my skullduggery or that of the CPS or DSS workers. If you violate my order, I will have the cops put you in jail. They will gleefully do my bidding at all times. They are the enforcers in this very large criminal enterprise. I will also have complete judicial backup in the event you have the audacity to appeal any of my decisions. The judges over me will condone everything that I do. We are all in it together, so to speak. Money is a great motivator, and we are all after it. These proceedings, as I mentioned, will be quite lengthy. It will be so by design for two purposes primarily. Our aim in general is to extract as much money as possible from you for the benefit of myself and my fellow actors. Also, by dragging it out, it will help you to become accustomed to not having your children. Eventually, I will terminate your parental rights. We call it TPR. Although all of our proceedings will be conducted on a kangaroo court basis, do not even begin to think of it as a Mickey Mouse operation. Our very well-constructed racket garners for us hundreds of billions of dollars. This money is taken from the Social Security Trust Fund, so we will get the money, and this is big-time business. Unbeknownst to you, the attorney you have hired will be colluding with myself and the CPS or DSS workers. That is what makes our operation so smooth. Just to give you a friendly heads up on what to expect, you in all likelihood will become a pauper. You will spend all of your money trying to get your kids back, which will be an exercise in futility. You will not have a chance. It is kind of like the old arrangement of throwing a Christian to the lions. As we conduct our business, do not mention constitutionality, as that has no place in my courtroom. And I will tell you that in a heartbeat. Your so-called constitutional rights will be violated with regularity. As you have already noticed, I will be violating your First Amendment rights, the so-called freedom of speech. As I mentioned, there will be no jury trials. So your Seventh Amendment rights under the Constitution of the United States will equally be ignored and violated. Even if you request or demand a jury trial, I will deny that to you. That has already been arranged by design. Also, there will be no adherence to due process. You will not be allowed to defend yourself or prove your innocence. If I were to allow that, it would be crystal clear from the cold record that we have no case to stand on against you. So that will not happen. If you fail to comply with any of my court orders and fall behind on paying us the money that I order you to pay, I will also violate the constitutional prohibition against debtor's prison. I will put you in debtor's prison in a heartbeat. The coming months or years, as it may become, will be very stressful for you. Just to give you a friendly heads up, some of you your moms, dads, and your children will commit suicide. I do not encourage that, but I realize that frequently happens. Let me make it perfectly clear. We are not meaning to take your life. We just want to take all of your money. So that completes your orientation. Have a nice day. All rise and let the trial begin.
I'll be filing for divorce as soon as I possibly can. I'm not coming home this weekend. I'm going to be away. I will come back Sunday to get my stuff for next week.
This is Alan Kasanoff. Class act, right? Based off of this video, it's very clear to see that Alan is very upset and kind of a dick. But what you don't see in this video is the person he's yelling at is his wife, Catherine Kasanoff. They're also both lawyers. Catherine took time off to raise their 3 children, and Alan continued to practice. Another important piece you need to know is that Catherine has cancer, and she's beaten it twice. Alan filed for divorce in 2019, and the divorce proceedings were monstrous. Now, because Alan was still a practicing lawyer, he used every loophole and every professional courtesy possible to make life miserable for Catherine. Like protection orders to prevent her from seeing their kids. He was even somehow able to convince a judge to sign away full custody to him without her even in the courtroom. Catherine did everything in her power to get her children back, but it seems like the legal system was stacked against her. And then her cancer came back, and the prognosis was bad. She released this letter on Facebook. Feel free to pause to read. In this letter, Catherine Kasanoff explains that she doesn't have any more fight left in her. She had been kicked out of her house. She had been bankrupted. Her children were stolen from her, and she's just been given a terminal cancer diagnosis. She didn't want to put her kids through any more torment, so she decided the best course of action was to take her own fate into her own hands. And she would do that via going to Switzerland and using euthanasia services to end her own life. And that's what she did. Catherine Kasanoff has since passed away. However, something you did not see in this letter. Catherine included a Dropbox file of years of evidence of the torment that Alan put her through. Videos, legal documents, the works. And now those videos have gone public, and people can see Alan for the man-child he really is.
I'm leaving.
Take your daughter, go in there and say you're sorry. Say you're sorry.
No! I hate you, Catherine. I hate you. I regret every minute of my life the fact that I met you.
Your children are here.
Okay.
Your children.
They know how I feel. Shut up, Allie! Get over there, Allie!
No!
It's not any of your business. Get over there.
Allie, let me in! Get out, Charlie. Go, Charlie and Judge.
What is wrong with you? You're not involved in this.
I don't care. She's my sister.
I have to go to my doctor now.
I'm leaving.
I need to.
I don't care.
Good morning, Congress. My name is Mary Earle, a resident of Lebanon, Pennsylvania. I am in the middle of a custody and divorce case with the presiding judge of Donna J. Long Brightville. In this process, there has been numerous CYS cases brought against father from the children's counselors, school counselors, medical doctors, and also people that the kids communicate with out in public. The father has worked for CYS in Lebanon County, and his boss is still presiding over all of these cases against father and unfind them due to him previously working there. There is a current CYS case where my daughter was hit once again from her father. A previous case, he hit her and broke her wrist, which CYS closed and said it was unfounded. They have all the medical documentation stating that her wrist was broke from an MRI. That's where the information came from. An MRI stating that her growth plate was broke in her wrist. And they unfounded this. Right now, my children cry constantly anytime that they have to go with their dad. There was just recently a PFA put against father for hitting our oldest. Judge Donald Brightville sat over the PFA hearing and closed this case stating that the child was not telling the truth. I've requested a forensic interview and it has not happened. Father has accused me of alienation. Judge granted it. Has ordered me to release my private medical records for behavioral health because I'm a veteran with PTSD and a TBI to opposing counsel. If I did not, I was going to go to jail. And now I am ordered for a psychological evaluation. I am fine doing that. But I also feel that father, since he is a veteran as well with PTSD, should also have an evaluation. She will not do that. She will also not grant the fact that I asked for a forensic interview of the children. Please hold these judges, guardian ad litems, and CYS workers accountable. Please pass the Family Justice Act, Family Justice and Accountability Act. We really need to save the children and not just look out for the adults. Thank you.
history at all?
No.
No criminal history?
I have nothing.
What about him?
I told the court. He has DUIs. He was arrested for domestic violence. He broke my jaw.
Oh, isn't that just peachy? Pull over. Pull over here. I'll take a left.
No, I haven't talked to him.
I don't care. Take a left. They'll follow us.
Pull over.
Yeah, just stop.
No, I never thought this would happen. I'm a good mom.
This is just up. They took both her kids because she failed to appear because the baby was in the hospital. Took her babies from her. She hasn't seen her baby.
All three of them?
No, she had 2 kids with this guy, and then she had this little boy. They came in to her house and took the kids.
And what they say the
Default judgment. Default judgment. She didn't show up to a hearing that she didn't even know they were having because she was in Children's Hospital with the other kid. Allegedly, the guy broke her jaw, beat her ass, has DUIs, and he walked away with the kids. I want to turn her loose right now. I've never done that in my whole career, and eat that $1,000.
Listen, we all do, but there's a ball.
No, I'm serious. This girl is getting railroaded. She lost her kids already. She has no criminal history. She has no traffics even. Nothing. And she's going to jail on a cash bond? I want to eat the bond and kick her loose. Sayonara, I promise you I am.
Then why am I on the card you asking me?
Because I need you to agree with me.
I don't.
I need you to.
You got to put her in and we're going to post bail.
Back now to a story you'll see first on the CBS 58 News. A mother of 4 is behind bars tonight, being held on a $500,000 bond.
Julie Valadez has spent years fighting for full custody of her kids and escaping domestic violence. Andy Bernhardt joins us live now after sitting down with her family to tell us what this case is all about. Andy?
Well, Natalie and Jessup, Julie Valadez is facing 2 felony charges in Walworth County for interfering with child custody. Her family says she's been behind bars for 2 months now, all because her son was trying to flee his abusive father.
She is not guilty. I don't believe that at all.
Julie Valadez's mother, Nancy Webster, is demanding justice, saying her daughter has been wrongfully behind bars for 2 months.
I believe she has justice.
Canada, where she sought asylum until late May after surviving domestic violence.
And she told me this more than once, that if she tried to leave Rick, he would kill her. And then if he didn't kill her, he'd find somebody that would.
These charges stem from the child being reported missing in January of 2023 and was later found in Canada with his mother. Webster says Ricardo abused both her daughter and her child, who we are not identifying because he is a minor.
Did he run away and go to her? Yes. Did he push it so that they didn't have a choice? So he was desperate to get away from his father, and there was no way he was going to go back to him. And the only place and the only person he had was his mother.
Daniel Pollock, who works with the National Family Violence Law Center at GW Law, says Valadez has faced 5 years of court battles. She says Valadez filed for divorce of her abusive husband in Waukesha County in 2018, where the court ended up granting him with full custody of all 4 kids, a ruling she continues to fight.
She's just been struggling in the court system for 5 years now. She hasn't had her children. She went to the appellate court with that decision, the higher court, and they said the trial court made an error. They should not have given those children to the dad, who had all these abuse issues. And when she came back then to the trial court, they still didn't give her kids back to her.
Valadez remains in jail where she is being held on a $500,000 bond, a price the family says is unjust.
We don't even have people who are accused of murder and rape held on that high of a bond. $500,000. I mean, she's what has she done besides, just be available for her kids? And one of her kids wanted to come to her and be with her and be safe with her. And now she's in jail, held on a $500,000 bond.
Hi, my name is Troy Henderson. I live in Volusia County, Florida. I'm the father of 4 boys, aged 13 to 20, and I'm calling on Congress to pass the Family Justice and Accountability Act. In September of 2023, after identifying multiple forms of severe abuse, including threats of violence, coercion, and forced isolation, my sons and I separated from my ex-wife. During the divorce process, the system failed us in ways I never imagined possible by handing the abuser a new tool of the legal system. In December 2024, at a hearing, I successfully challenged false allegations of parental alienation. I even got the so-called therapist to admit that the theory is junk science. In January 2025, everything changed. A corrupt judge signed an ex parte order that led to the police showing up at my home and forcefully removing my youngest son. He had lived safely with me for over 15 months and made it very clear he did not want to return to his abusive mother, who at the time was under investigation by DCF. This order gave me no clear path forward, no timeline or explanation or guarantee of any future contact with my son. It was overly restrictive and violated basic constitutional protections under Troxel v. Granville. I was never declared an unfit parent or investigated by anyone. And only one of my 2 minor children was taken, highlighting clear judicial inconsistency. Shockingly, the guardian ad litem served the order. The very next day, the judge recused herself, leaving my son in a dangerous environment and our family in legal limbo. This process violated due process standards set in Goldberg v. Kelly and included an unlawful seizure of my child without allowing me to present critical exculpatory evidence. The same GAL falsely accused me of being in a cult, misled DCF, violated confidentiality, and held private unlawful meetings with the judge. Later, when my children were unlawfully kept from school, friends, and contact with me, they ran away from their abusive mother. When my best friend and I found and tried to protect them, we were falsely charged and arrested with third-degree felony interference with child custody and jailed under a $200,000 bond, despite a lack of credible evidence. This is not justice, it's collusion and motivates corruption, including allowing court actors to participate in cash for kids schemes with no accountability. Instead of helping us, the system punished us for.
Hey, don't you know, I don't know what I did wrong. I wonder where you have gone. There's no one that even knows. There's no one that I can tell. If I don't do what they say, they hurt me and then they yell. Mama, what can I ever do just to get back to you? I can't ever get away. There's nothing that I know to do. Daddy, come take me away. I need you to find and save me today. I don't know what I did wrong, but this is not where I belong.
Chairman, ranking members, and members of the committee, thank you. I'm Jennifer Jabel-Bevins. I was a teacher for 16 years, National Board Certified, National STAR Teacher Award winner, but overall, I'm a mom.
I'm Randolph Bevins, veteran, former EMT, and a decorated retired police officer. I'm here to stand with my wife and son.
9 years ago, we became a blended family with 7 children. They are the center of our lives. We even brought them on our honeymoon cruise. We spent a lot of time in church, playing board games, and teaching them how to be good people. We bought a farm in Kentucky to live out our American dream. Then the ground gave way. I was brutally raped in front of my youngest child and got a permanent restraining order. When I communicated my plans to move, he filed a paternity case to stop me. The case went dormant for 23 months. When counselors told me that my child was showing signs of sexual abuse, I did everything they told me to do and got sucked into the system. Then an unethical opposing counsel tried to hold me in contempt on my own order of protection because I wasn't handing my son over to the abuser despite my full custody. That lawyer wrote all the orders for the judge and maneuvered an ex parte order. The judge later apologized for the mistake and granted me a rehearing, but that lawyer doubled down, screaming I had a contempt at every subsequent hearing to besmirch me. What should have been a routine legal process turned into a costly marathon of tactics and blatant fraud. We stipulated to a GAL, and an investigation revealed unethical family ties and a shared employee between law offices. The guardian secretary, her daughter, was a 9-time felon with drug and larceny charges. She bragged to my lawyer that she had won this case and was smarter than her mother and my lawyer. It was a setup. The GAL later pled guilty to 5 bar complaints, revealing her daughter practiced law without a license. Her license was suspended for 90 days, but our lives were ruined by corrupt lawyers, a felon fabricating evidence, twisting orders, and a weaponized court system. We once believed you show up to court, you tell the truth, and trust the system. The system betrayed my disabled son and placed him with an abuser who was using him to try to stay in this country. In a short amount of time, my son went from a stable, straight-A student to physically abused, medically and educationally neglected, expelled from school, drug addicted, and in rehab. I filed an emergency motion with over 500 pages of evidence, and it was denied in an hour and referred to DCF. DCF won't act unless my disabled son can verbally tell them he is being abused. Police say they have to wait for a crisis, like my child having a heart attack. It's a vicious cycle with no help for the child who is suffering now. So I sit here today watching the slow motion train wreck and the slow murder of my child. This is a nightmare I don't wish upon anyone.
If it can happen to us, it can happen to anyone. Please pass the Family Justice and Accountability Act. If this accountability had been in place, it never would have happened to our innocent family. Thank you.
Sarah is a beautiful mother of 3 children, one being 5 years old and one being 7 years old. Her 5-year-old son is a level 3 autistic little boy who is one of the most caring and fun-loving kids. Sarah, who also struggles with running, hitting his head on things, and just escaping from his car seat, just all the things that you wouldn't want your small child to do. Sarah is that helicopter mom that has done everything she can to learn how to be the best parent she can be to an autistic child. She's fought for him to get a car seat that's specialized. She's fought for him to go to a kindergarten school that specializes in autism. She's fought for him to have crash mats and specialized sensory toys and swings, and has gotten all sorts of occupational speech and swim therapy, as well as in-home services. So she's really fought. Unfortunately, in October of 2024, Sarah's world was shattered by this system. The Department of IDHW received 3 complaints against her in 5 days. The first one was anonymous, indicating that her son had a small mark on his head and that he wasn't seatbelted properly. We didn't know who that was from. The other 2 were made by the child's father. Dad removed the kids in lieu of adhering to the safety plan. The safety plan was for Sarah to be in the home with an adult. There were no drug allegations. There were no abuse allegations. Just the mark on his head was unexplained. During the next several months through the course of the court hearing, IDHW did not follow the safety plan that they laid into place. They actually encouraged Dad to get a civil protection order against Mom that denied her access to her kids. Dad's petition was full of perjury and omissions and was never verified by a single person. Sarah did not see her kids for 73 days. The delays in these denials continued throughout the course of 2024. Her first hearing was November 13th, 2 weeks after the kids were removed. It was December 31st. IDHW closed their case, and they had not followed any of the rules for attempting visitation or reunification with Sarah or her kids. In March of 2013, IDHW confirmed that there was unsubstantiated claims against her. That her claims by IDHW had been unsubstantiated, that Dad had been convicted within the last 2 years of domestic violence against her and the kids, that Dad had crimes of trafficking heroin and had been in prison recently, that Dad had lied on these court documents, that Dad was ending phone calls and alienating the children from Mom by ending Zoom calls for no reason. And one of the biggest things was that while she was being accused of being a bad mother and unsubstantiated, Dad's new girlfriend had recently been convicted of injury to child and meth and manufacturing, but yet was safer to be near the kids than Sarah was. Sarah did not see her kids for 184 days. Not a phone call, not a Zoom call, not an in-person, not a holiday. The courts fail to hold parties accountable for perjury and omissions. The imbalance of financial power is ignored by the courts. The courts fail to ensure due process in unanswered motions and denied motions without merit. And the department, CPS, has failed to follow their own policies and safety plans. They are weaponizing the family law system against families. There is such a thing as the silver bullet, where parents are encouraged to make false statements of abuse against the other parent, and there's no consequences. In Sarah's case, IDHW, Child Services, and law enforcement had been called at least 8 times from October 2024 to the present. She's had at least 5 protection orders filed against her, and just numerous interactions with law enforcement.
Hello, my name is Jen Smith. I've been an ER nurse, a firefighter, a freelance journalist, and a pharmacy technician. I've seen trauma up close, injustice firsthand, and resilience in every form. But nothing prepared me for the heartbreak and legal chaos I've faced trying to protect my children. In 2018, I entered into a legally binding mediation agreement in the state of Florida. It was signed, filed, and enforceable, meant to protect my children and preserve our connection. But in 2022, Judge Cynthia Cox of the 19th Judicial Circuit Court in Florida dismissed that agreement without my knowledge. No hearing, no notice, no due process. Before that dismissal, their father had already been found in contempt of the agreement. A writ of bodily enforcement was issued alongside that finding, a serious enforcement tool meant to hold him accountable. I personally verified with the St. Lucie County Sheriff's Office that the writ was still valid, but Judge Cox dismissed it as well. No explanation, no enforcement, just another layer of failure. I didn't even know the agreement had been dismissed until 2024, when I traveled to pick up my children and attempted to domesticate the agreement in the state where they were staying with their father for an extended visitation period. That's when I was told this agreement is no longer valid. I tried to appeal the dismissal. Denied. I tried to enforce the agreement. Denied. Every legal avenue I pursued was shut down, not because the agreement was flawed, but because the system failed to protect it. Now, I'm fighting for my children in a completely different state. Their father is actively alienating them from me, and I've been waiting months for a hearing date. No urgency, no accountability, just silence. And while the system stalls, my children suffer. They've been truant from school. They've been exposed to a known child predator. They've been subjected to instability, manipulation, and emotional harm, while I'm denied the chance to protect them. This is why the Family Justice and Accountability Act matters. Because families like mine deserve transparency, due process, and judicial responsibility. We deserve to know that when we sign an agreement in good faith, it won't be erased without warning. We deserve a system that protects children, not one that enables delay, confusion, and emotional harm. I'm not asking for sympathy. I'm asking for reform. I'm asking you to listen, not just to me, but to the thousands of parents whose voices have been buried beneath procedural failure. Thank you for your time, thank you for your courage, and thank you for standing with families who refuse to be erased.
Firstly, I'd like to address our chairmen and women and thank you for our opportunity to speak with you today. My name is Anna Powell. I come not in disparity or fear because I believe in a powerful God. I believe in the Constitution my parents swore their lives to defend. I believe in justice, and I believe that the Family Justice and Accountability Act of 2025 fervently defends both the Constitution and the core American principle of justice. I'll now be pulling key elements from our 14th and our 4th Amendments. Nor shall any state deprive any person of property, liberty, or life without due process of the laws, nor deny to any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of those laws. Secondly, the right for the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall be issued but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation. It would be presumed that given the positions that you hold, I wouldn't have to remind you of my constitutional rights, but seeing the numbers gathered here before you today, you can see that that's not only been a harmful assumption, but a dangerous one. Lack of knowledge has led to the downfall of parental rights, and it ends today. This is not a scandal, it's a testimony, and only you can decide how your part reads. March 27th, 2024 was the day that my rights died. I'm a single mother. I was living with my grandfather doing his end-of-life care while simultaneously escaping from a dangerous situation. You can imagine my surprise when days after my daughter's first birthday, I was served with what the courts called evidence. My child's father had assumed my identity. He leveraged the opportunity to frame me as a negligent and abusive mother. He also said under my name that I had lied about everything on the restraining order that protected my child. I learned what fear was that day. Furthermore, even upon receiving a letter from the chief of police about the open criminal investigation into the evidence that was handed in, my family law judge made the executive decision to allow for my child's father to have access to her. He even said, quote, "I'm doing this for you as a father." The judge sent me to mediation, stating that if I didn't figure it out, he would figure it out for me. Before I ever spoke a word, it was very clear to me that that judge had preconceived notations as to who I was, not only as a person, but as a mother, given the evidence that was turned into him. That evidence had my child's father found criminally guilty of identity theft a year later. Fear turned into terror, and the fight for my child's right to safety began. This is also where I learned that we do not have the rights that we're led to believe we do. Over the last year and a half, my child has experienced the very turbulent nature that I've dedicated my entire life to protecting her from. We come before you on behalf of all parents here in America, pleading with you to uphold the Constitution, to make America safe again. It's my earnest belief that you can do that by allowing for the Family Justice and Accountability Act of 2025 to move forward. Thank you very much for your time.
Congress, I want to thank you for taking the time to listen to my story. My name is Alexis Winder. I'm the mother of 7-year-old twin boys, Grayson and Connor, who are the absolute light of my life. But 4 years ago, that light in everybody's life was turned off. Their father had spread lies about me from the very first hearing that was accepted into the courts. Due process was done. I was not allowed representation, and the fight was just horrendous. From there were motions filed, petitions drawn up, thousands and thousands of dollars spent between multiple lawyers. My sons have now gotten older to the point where they have spoken up about what has been going on in the home of their father and the fiance, and how there's just abuse going on left and right. It was brought to the attention of Child Services, and yet they have done nothing to help my sons except leave them in the home of the abuser after they had shared the private disclosures of what my sons had said and drawn to the abusers, and now they're only recommending therapy instead of taking protective action. I'm now in my second county and still have gotten no help in trying to get justice for my sons. I've had a PFA order put in place only temporarily with the help of sheriffs to bring my boys home, and it wasn't enough. It was later dismissed along with a second PFA and even a petition, an emergency petition for special relief to bring them home. And yet these judges out here just allowed the abuse to continue. The father and his attorney are using the system to their liking to play games and do what they want to do. Phone calls have been shut down. Again, with the father's lies. That cost me my medical rights to my sons. All I have left with my sons is 3 weekends of every month. And even that is not on my side. I do feel the further I go in this fight, that will be taken from me by some way, shape, or form, or a lie. I have to listen to my sons talk about hurting themselves, the anger that they have towards their father. No child should ever have to endure this because the system failed them. They failed me. And I just really want to, stand here today and tell you that this is my story and that there's others out there, and I would love to see the pass of the Family Justice and Accountability Act.
Hi, my name is Henry J. Martaccio, and this is Nathan Ray Martaccio. We're victims of the family court systems in denial of 17 years of the American Disabilities Acts of policies, procedures, and administrative duties. Behind me is the Connecticut General Assembly. To the right of me is our Connecticut Supreme Court. And behind, in front of me, is our state capitol. All three places have denied the due process rights of the disabled. They have denied me the right for effective communication. They've denied me the right to ensure on each Olmstead decision that my child has a life of community inclusion programs and services. They've denied me through the Office of Child Advocate. They've denied me through advocacies and protections. They denied me through CHRO. This is all federal funding, ladies and gentlemen, that is being totally abused for these people in this population. Yes, the Family Justice and Accountability Act 2025 is about family courts, probate courts, and I think all administrative duties, and that would include that of the Department of Social Services, the Department of Developmental Services, and the Department of Education, and towns and cities. I do not understand, anytime we have an administrative duties, how people can just walk away from their mandated prophylactic protections with strictest scrutiny. How is it possible Connecticut has received 35 years of funding to ensure that all program services and activities are compliant? Really, is Nathan's life not worth having a life of community inclusion? As a father, I do support the Francesca Amato's Family Justice and Accountability Act 2025. I'm asking you, senators, because all my sitting legislators at the Congress level and my senators have failed to do their investigative rights of this child's needs. We've had program frauds during COVID. We had theft of educational dollars. We've had theft of dollars inside of court systems. We've had the theft of Department of Social Services, refusal for compliancy. All decide that they don't have to represent him and his needs today in 2025. I am asking you for your help, President Trump, and I would like your endorsement on the Family Justice Accountability Act after Congress passes it, because
we are a group of parents from Connecticut. Proud parents, leadership and encouragement for all parents.
My name is Josie, and my life was destroyed by the system that was supposed to protect me and my family. I grew up as a victim of domestic violence. Then I suffered years of abuse in a foster care system. Then as an adult, I was blessed to have a child and be called a parent. I asked Child Protective Services for supports and help. And instead of them helping me, they destroyed my family. I was discriminated against because I have a disability and a label on my name. And so my question is, who is being held accountable? Who's there for me to recover? No one. Please, please, please support this bill, because poverty is not neglect.
Hello, my name is Crystal. My son James was wrongly removed from my care for only 4 days old. My human rights were violated. Judges, Child Protection Services, and others need to be held accountable. I missed years of my son's life. I deserve compensation recovery services.
Hi, my name is Sierra. I would like to share a life story on how the judges who work on Child Protective Services cases lack insight. I had a Child Protective Service case and my son was removed. That case was then unsubstantiated. However, because the state already petitioned for temporary custody, it became a court matter. The judge on my case was not impartial. His personal bias was evident, and you can tell by his words and his actions that he made up his mind before trial even began. He made discriminative statements and shut down every professional witness that testified positively on my behalf. And who does a judge answer to? No one. And what about the neglect that my autistic son suffered for the 1 year in foster care? And what about my constitutional rights? Where's my apology? Where's my son's apology? Families deserve reparations. Families deserve justice. Families deserve fairness.
From proudparents.info. For these families and so many others, we urge you to support Family Justice and Accountability Act 2025. Thank you.
Greetings. My name is Lynn Weddick, and I'm the mother of 3 and the proud grandmother of one precious 9-year-old little girl. We've always been what I'd consider a normal American family, close, hardworking, and guided by strong values. That changed in 2016 when my daughter married a man who, in my personal opinion and observation, displayed many traits of a deeply manipulative and controlling personality. They married in April, their daughter was born in July, and by October my daughter had left the marriage after discovering infidelity and experiencing serious emotional and physical trauma that left deep and lasting scars. Like so many survivors, she was too afraid at the time to come forward, and she continues to live with that pain to this day. For the first 5.5 years of my granddaughter's life, my daughter was her primary caregiver, a loving, dedicated, and hands-on mom. The father's involvement during that time was minimal. A visiting plan was put in place, but he never consistently followed nor completed it. The father was ordered to pay child support, but arrears built up over time, eventually reaching $18,000. Meanwhile, public property records show that during the same period, he acquired multiple real estate holdings valued at over $6 million. Yet child support enforcement has done little to enforce existing court orders. It's disheartening to see such clear financial capability paired with a complete lack of accountability. When the court expanded the father's visitation, concerning behaviors began to surface. Within months, my granddaughter began saying things that no young child should even know, let alone speak about. We immediately sought help, consulted professionals, and followed every appropriate channel to report our concerns. My daughter was suddenly arrested in another state after her ex filed a criminal complaint. She spent nearly 2 weeks in jail while her little girl, who had been with her every day of her life, was abruptly transferred to his care. The trauma of that moment for both mother and child is something our family will never forget. In North Carolina, it's shockingly easy for someone to walk into a magistrate's office, swear out a charge without providing evidence, and devastate another person's life. My daughter is a woman of integrity, a kind, responsible mother doing her best to protect her child. She's had numerous letters of support and credible professional witnesses, yet the court continues to ignore evidence and delay hearings. We've been waiting years for her case to be properly heard. Even emergency custody motions have sat unaddressed. The bias, the delays, and the lack of accountability in family court are devastating, not just to our family, but countless others. Our story isn't unique. Across this country, thousands of protective parents, mostly mothers, are being silenced, punished, and separated from their children for trying to keep them safe. It's time for real reform. Families like ours are counting on you and every lawmaker willing to stand up for truth, fairness, and accountability. Please support the Family Justice and Accountability Act so that no more children or families suffer through this kind of injustice. On behalf of our family and countless others, thank you.
Can you tell me what it was like to become a mom at 18 before all this CPS stuff?
was a blessing to have a little one in the house. I mean, yeah, you'd be stressed out here and there, but I made it through being a mom.
A failure to thrive. Like, did you understand that?
I mean, yeah, she was gaining weight slowly, but she's still, like, even in utero, she was growing slowly.
There was a claim that you all tampered with the baby scale. How did you feel whenever you heard that? And what's the truth from your perspective of that?
I was very mad when I heard about that. Like, me, my mom, and my fiance were all in the room. And the guy that was taking her weight wouldn't come in the room. We didn't tamper with it. We never even touched the scale. We just put her on the scale and then looked at the weight, told the guy, grabbed her, got her dressed, and then left.
You tried to reweigh the baby at all?
Nope, he just wrote down the weight and walked away.
Okay.
My name is Andrea Vreeken. I am a mother and a medical assistant. My children's names are Carson Marshall, Noah Vreeken, and Olivia Vreeken. They were taken from me based off false allegations. I have all the proof, not one electronic health record or medical record showing failure to thrive, which requires diagnosis through lab testing and results. All his labs were normal from both his pediatrician and the hospital. Here we have a picture of my son Noah at birth and his bedside card showing that he weighed 6 pounds at birth. He was 18.5 inches long. These are the same EHR from birth. The photo to the right is a close-up showing no drug use and normal health. Underlined in red, it says no drug, alcohol, or med use. I have his lab results from birth highlighted in yellow. They all came back as normal. Every single one of my son's panels were normal. At birth, he weighed 6 pounds. By November 18th, he weighed 7.9 pounds. On November 29th, the day of the removal, he was taken to the ER. And when he was taken to the ER, he weighed 8.5 pounds. They did not know this before removing my son, but they found out that same day that he weighed 8.5 pounds. I did a little research myself, and you can see here it says that gaining about 1 pound in the first month of an infant's life is normal for a baby, as infants typically gain 1 to 2 pounds a month. Pictures of my kids when they were with me, happy and healthy. There to the bottom left is us building a gingerbread house from scratch. At the top right, there's a picture of my kids taking Easter photos with the Easter bunny. There's a picture of my children when they were not in my custody, looking very sad and confused. There were no photos of my oldest son because my ex-husband was not bringing him to the visits. And lastly, tell me why I have 2 court orders that claim that both Michael Casey Mulder and Thomas Joel Garrett are both the biological fathers of Noah Silas Vreeken. They are 2 separate documents. There has never been any paternity established for Noah. Thomas is the dad, but has never submitted a paternity test. Neither of them have, and yet Casey has my son. Ohana means family, and family means nobody gets left behind.
Money time and living is easy.
first, the child must be removed from the home. And then second, the court must make that order that continuation in the home is contrary to the child's best interest. That's correct so far, correct?
Yes.
And if those two factors are not satisfied, that is, they're not met, the child's not removed from the home, or the court does not make those specific findings, then the state could lose hundreds or millions of dollars.
Correct.
So it is very important, number one, that the child be removed, and number two, that the court make specific findings that continuation in the home would be detrimental to the child. Otherwise, the state loses millions of dollars.
To receive that funding, yes.
Yeah, and it could be millions of dollars.
It could be.
And the state would lose it if those two specific criteria are not met.
Well, not that we would lose it, but we wouldn't then be reimbursed or get that money.
What's the difference? If you don't get the money, you lost the money.
Well, if the kid's never out of care, then we wouldn't need the money to spend on them anyway to sustain them out of care.
Right. We're talking about just the situation under which your state would get money, right?
Right.
If you don't seize a child from the home, you don't get money, right?
Right.
Because the child's not in care, we don't have to provide services, we don't have anything to pay for, right?
Right.
So the only way that the state, your agency, gets money from the federal government is if it removes that child from the home, correct?
I don't know if that's the only way, but I know that's one way.
Under Title 4E, what do you train your workers about how the state gets its money in relation to the work they do for your agency? What do you teach them?
For the Title 4E funding, that's correct, but I don't know about the other grants and all of that stuff.
Okay. The only thing we're talking about right now is the exhibit that's in front of you, Title 4E funding. In order to qualify for Title 4E funding, you train your workers that they must remove that child from the home. That's the first step, right?
Yes.
Then the second step you train your workers is that they must obtain from the court an order that says continuation in the home is contrary to the best interest of the child, correct?
Correct.
And you teach them this. If they don't follow those two steps, your agency does not get the money under Title 4E, correct?
Correct.
And that the failure to follow those two steps could cost the state millions of dollars, correct?
Yes.
Random people dropped off my daughter at my doorstep because the program that she's at will not feed her. Athena, get down. Why did you run away from the program? This is what she showed up in. I love you.
Love you too. When's our next court?
I want to go home. My mom did everything she had to do. I'm going to go insane because I need to go home. And my mom did everything that she had to do. She doesn't drink. She doesn't do any of that. I swear to God, my two twin dead brothers cross my eyes, stick 2 needles in my eyes, hope to die.
Once they take you down, then we're all next.
Just look around. There's only a very few of us, and have not been made.
They have access to a lot of confidential information. So the question is, what's the resource?
There is a concern that licensed attorneys might be getting this information and feeding it. I mean, when you're selling kids,
right,
there's got to be some money attached to that.
Yep.
I was figuring on using my trust account, but do you think I should set up a separate account?
I think it needs to go on your IOLTA. I think it should be a separate bank account.
You do not want anything to happen to that IOLTA account. It's not hard to incorporate a quick LLC.
You know, like almost everybody in their cat bills, including Bruce.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I wasn't sure, and I don't know how this person got my email. Like, I'm just trying to figure out, what's going on, but I wasn't sure.
You know, Sarah, and everybody, there are a lot of attorneys that were included on all these emails that are not on this call and are not PALs. So this isn't just the 38 of us. This is larger than this call.
I'm all for spreading the word however we can and getting more people.
This is Siobhan, did I understand this is going in a separate account, correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
We can name it whatever we want, but that would require opening a bank account in the name of an entity.
Greg, can we just PayPal or Venmo you, or?
Okay, Greg, make sure you listen to what Siobhan Harris has to say. She's on the disciplinary committee. I would certainly recommend a separate account.
I would get audited with the stuff.
Our OCDC attorney is speaking.
I think the approach I'd want to take would be to just put it in my trust account. And I understand that may be problems, but I mean, I just kind of view that as being where I put money that doesn't belong to me, keep my account in that way. That will work for everybody.
Yeah, in the operating account.
Not trust, but operate.
Yeah.
Stay away from the trust.
Yeah. We call ourselves Cash for Kids.
Oh, yeah, LLC. My financial son is that I know 4 or 5 other families, and we're getting together and we're hiring a lawyer. I don't know that she is, but there's a part that she certainly knows about this stuff. This threatens to take down the entire system.
With forwarding this email to other attorneys who may want to support the cause.
The states are taking children, giving them to somebody else for money that they get from the federal government. That means that all 50 states are involved in government-subsidized child trafficking. It's a ring. It is the largest and most pervasive child trafficking ring in the history of the world by sheer money and numbers.
Children are seized unnecessarily from their families due to the federal aid entitled the Adoption and Safe Families Act.
It was put into law in 1997 by Bill and Hillary Clinton, and I said it that way on purpose. And it is a law that literally steals money from the Social Security Fund and gives this money to the states in order to incentivize them to kidnap babies.
To receive the adoption incentives or bonuses, local CPS must have more children. They must have more merchandise to sell.
Every child, once you've added it all up, is worth approximately $1 million to the state. But we've been told that this is a $60 to $80 billion a year industry, meaning the federal government is taking $80 billion a year and giving that money to all of the 50 states to kidnap children.
Parents are victimized by the system that makes a profit for holding children longer and bonus.
The states are taking children, giving them to somebody else for money that they get from the federal government. That means that all 50 states are involved in government-subsidized child trafficking. It's a ring. It is the largest and most pervasive child trafficking ring in the history of the world by sheer money and numbers.
Catherine Kasanoff's story has made national headlines. A mother battling through messy divorce and child custody hearings, ultimately choosing to take her own life in Switzerland. News Nation spoke to Catherine's friend, Elizabeth Weinstein, who says she's fighting for custody of her kids.
The way that I judge somebody's motherhood is by how hard they actually are able to put their pain aside and fight for their children. And I know Catherine did that to the death. We tried to get these stories out for years and nobody she kept saying to me in the months leading up to this, she says, Lizzie, nobody will care until somebody dies. It is an indescribable, bottomless pit of pain to have your children taken. So I think the better question is, how do people survive this, right? Like, how am I able to survive it? How was Catherine able to survive it for so long?
That's waiting for me, but it feels like home. Every night I lie in bed, the brightest colors fill my head. A million dreams are keeping me awake. I think of what the world could be, a vision of the one I see. A million dreams is all it's gonna take. Special things I compile, each one there to make you smile on a rainy day. The one I see, a million dreams is all it's gonna take. Dreams for the world we're gonna make. However big, however small, let me be part of it all. Share your dreams with me. You may be right, you may be wrong. To see that you'll bring me along to the world you see, to the world I close my eyes to see. I close my eyes to see. Every night I lie in bed. One minute.
Okay. I feel like I'm in a movie where everybody's been raptured because the family used to live here, or they were trying to leave and they never came back. The last time I was here, we had so much fun. And now everything's packed up. We played the spoons on that table. I go out to the garage. And it's like, where are these people? There's like all this stuff. There's nobody here. It's vacant. There was a family here. And now there isn't. Toys. Stuff that these little people played with.
Right now at 5 o'clock, a mother is heartbroken over the loss of her 4-year-old son, police say was killed by his own father. Police say the father also took his own life.
Now we're learning this family tragedy comes after this mother repeatedly petitioned the court to protect her child from someone she believed posed a danger to both of them.
Again later, or?
I'd start working on that.
Yeah, no, I will, but I swear it takes...
We'll just say, like, we can't force him to give the child to you, so even if he's here, he doesn't have to give the child to you, even though the court order says that. If he doesn't want to answer, we can't force him to answer and stuff. So you have to go to the judge to get the judge
to order. Yes, you can go and physically remove the child.
What if they can't find him? What if he fled to?
We can't play the what if game. We have to go with what you have right now. You have to start with these steps. With his restraining order, it's a separate thing, but also with him violating that court order of custody. So the judge will have to decide on the custody thing for you.
I hope my son is safe. I really don't know his mental stability here. I'm really worried. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, the courthouse is just down the street here, so you're super.
The mother said that she feels like she was failed by the courts, by police, and by her own attorney. She said there were many red flags that she reported, but it wasn't acted on.
CBS 4's Ted Scouten is live in Fort Lauderdale with the new information. Ted.
Yeah, Lauren and Elliot, as you can only try to imagine, this family is absolutely devastated. Allison filed another pleading asking for an emergency pickup of Grayson, her attorney telling the judge the father is wrongfully detaining the minor child. The mother is justifiably concerned the minor child may be injured in the father's care. According to the attorney, that final pleading was denied about 12 hours after the two were found dead. And we asked for a comment from the court. We got a statement just a little while ago saying, in part, judges are prohibited from commenting on pending proceedings and cannot discuss the specifics of any orders. It cannot be stressed enough that if someone has reason to believe a child or any other person is in danger, they should call law enforcement in all circumstances.
You know, but we all know law enforcement will not get involved. They say, we tell our clients frequently, if you call, they're going to say it's a civil matter and they're not going to get involved.
Law enforcement do not get involved. Even if it rises to a criminal level, they do not get involved. And in many times they are also discouraged by their superiors from getting involved.
Just what you expect inside her new Balenciaga. Cigarettes in tiny liquor bottles. Just what you cigarettes.
Find something you can hold on to. Find someone who'll be there for you. 'Cause that's all that really matters in the end. Find somewhere you can come home to. Find someone that'll die for you. 'Cause that's all that really matters in the end. It's love, love,
Hello, my name is Tulsi Kai. I'm 15 years old, and I no longer feel comfortable or safe living at my dad's house. When I was 12 years old, I witnessed my dad molest my friend next to me at a sleepover. A couple months later, I spoke out explaining that I didn't feel safe with him and I didn't want to see him again. We've been in court for 3 years since then. I've made countless claims of what happened after that. Then, on February 13th this year, the custody suddenly changed. To my mom having full custody, to my dad having temporary full custody of me. This was a very sudden change and seemingly for no reason. I was then forced to meet up at the police station and go back with him. I refused and didn't want to and explained to the cops that I wanted to stay with my mom. I had no other choice, and the cops brought me to the Salvation Army Family Intervention Services. I didn't know where I was. I wasn't allowed to call my mom. I couldn't even bring my water bottle into the room with me. I was scared. The next day, on February 14th, I was forced to go back with my dad. When I got back, my phone was taken away from me, and I wasn't allowed to call anyone from my mom's side, including friends. I was extremely stressed, I had trouble sleeping, and I cried myself to bed every single night. I researched the laws in the state of Hawaii, and according to Law 571-46-3, if a child is of sufficient age and capacity to reason so as to form intelligent preference, the child's wishes as to custody should be considered and given due weight by the court. It has been 80 days without contact with my mom. I'm sad here, my mental health is not good here. I don't feel safe and I need to go home. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Julie Netherton. I'm from Crown Point, Indiana, Lake County. My judge is Magistrate Judge Alexis Diedlow, and my guardian ad litem is Renee Ortega. I cannot condense 10 years of court battles and abuse in a 3-minute video, cut into the chase. In the order that ruled in my favor for the most part, I proved that he was abusive. I proved that he was ongoingly abusive and that it's a pattern. I proved that he lied on the stand. This is all in the order. I proved, to be honest, I begged for psych evals for us both because I know what he has. They said no. They ordered him a 26-week class of like, don't beat my family before he gets his overnights back. They were taken away. During our litigation, the guardian ad litem wanted to keep everything the same, and that was a very bad idea. So I decided to go to trial. While trial awaited, he took the family on a family vacation. There was violence involved. Cops were called. There was alcohol involved. It was a very bad situation that was going to possibly get the kids killed if his plans actually went through. Guardian ad litem did not speak to that officer, but she demanded to speak to my daughter's therapist. I am still ordered to keep my daughter in therapy due to the abuse. However, I was put in contempt because after that situation happened, I halted visitation because I needed to keep my daughter safe. I filed for an emergency hearing before our trial to speed things up, and that takes time. It is unjust. It is against my 14th Amendment and my God-given duty as a mother to keep my daughter safe. I will never ask for anybody's permission to do so. I filed for a motion to correct, and I'm hoping that Diedlow does the right thing. But I don't have faith in that. Not after everything I've seen in the 10 years that I've been dealing with this at all. So I'm coming to you, and I demand that you look into family court. It is corrupt. I am thousands and thousands of dollars in debt trying to keep my child safe. It shouldn't take so much money to protect a child. It should not drain you to protect a child, and you shouldn't be punished for it. Ever. Especially when they say that you were acting in good faith. You know what I mean? And that's why I'm here.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, members of Congress. My name is Danielle Stevens. I'm the Kansas team lead. This is me and my children that were stolen from me. I was born and raised in Sutter County, California, and they stole my children from me for domestic violence. Not once, but twice. The second time, I didn't even live in Sutter County for 24 hours before they were at my door and they coerced me into signing a safety plan. They led me to believe that they were there for a guardianship hearing. And as soon as they had my signature, they got up, put their sunglasses on like they were James Bond, and told me that Yuba County would be there in the morning for the guardianship hearing, that I would be hearing from them. This is me and my oldest daughter. She now lives with her dad. I'm still fighting for custody out of California and Butte County. These are pictures of my daughters that were separated and haven't seen each other in years. Sutter County lied to me. This is my dad and my daughter. As a result of the ending result of my case, my father took his life. On Father's Day, I found him hung in his closet. They were supposed to help us. I did everything they asked me to. I completed my case plan. They told me I was aggressive, unstable, and uncooperative. This is my son. Since the adoption, my son has been in 5 different mental institutions. He is under constant surveillance from mental health professionals. My sister cannot handle him. My sister has called me and told me that raising my kids makes her want to kill herself. We had a beautiful family and I had a great life until a man with what was unknown to me, a very large history of domestic violence in all of his relationships, not just with me. He terrorized me, he stalked me, he beat me, he would disable my vehicles, he would take my keys, he would take my cards, he would take my phones. I begged Sutter County to let me get out of California. They said if I wanted to see my children, that I would stay.
I'm her friend. You're just a friend? Okay, what's your name? KK? KK. Olivia, I'm sorry about this. I know it's upsetting.
I don't want to hear it. I just don't want to hear it. Y'all made so many mistakes. Y'all don't know you're hurting me. Y'all don't. But when I start having PTSD, then you finally realize that you're hurting me. Then you realize. Y'all pulled me away from my family. The only people I know. And now y'all want to hurt me back. I'm not talking to y'all. I don't want to hear it anymore. All right, so leave me alone. Okay.
Mike, come in.
No.
Thank you for coming to figure it.
Just leave me alone.
Oh, she doesn't want to come in.
Yeah.
It's okay. Thank you for saying that.
You can leave me alone. She needed to hear the truth.
Oh, I know. They do not care about.
They never did. They just want. They only like me because I was in the system my whole life, and they want to tear me away from everything I love.
No, trust me, that's what they do.
And they want to act like they care.
So y'all are putting her, just so for the record, y'all putting her back in their custody.
Yes.
Okay.
And you can go up and you petition.
I heard that. I can comprehend very well. I just want to make sure that this child is acting like this. She has been raped. She has been molested. They have.
Her rapist is no longer in the home.
Doesn't matter. She was raped in her custody. The home.
But she.
And I reported that rape. She did not. The mother did not. I reported that rapist, and I am in court documents, and I'm on that release. So it does not matter. So for the record, she was raped in her care. For the record, legally, she was raped in her custody. She was raped in her custody. Correct? Correct. She had a gun pulled on her Friday in her custody. Correct. Okay. Four children broke into her home, beat her up, jumped her, and y'all are putting her back in the home. So that's clear, right? Correct? All right. That's all I need to know. Pathetic. The reason the rapist is not in her home is because of somebody that's sitting beside her.
I understand it, but
Sure you do.
legally, there is nothing else that can be done.
I didn't say that. I'm just saying for the record what is done, what has been done today. She's going back into their home. Right.
Y'all wonder why these kids end up dead. Y'all wonder why these kids kill themselves. Y'all wonder why these kids go missing, because when somebody tries to do something, everybody makes it hard. Go ahead. You'll be all right. I'll see you again. I will see you again soon. Remember everything I taught you. Come on, give me one more hug.
If an ordinary U.S. citizen breaks the law, they're held accountable. Law enforcement, the courts, and the justice system step in to make sure they face consequences. But what happens when those enforcing the law are the ones breaking it? For nearly 2 years, I fought against a system that was supposed to protect my daughter. Instead, I watched as those in power, the judges, the court-appointed attorney, government agencies like CPS, not only failed to follow the law, but actively worked to cover up their own wrongdoing. And when I tried to hold them accountable, they used their power against me. After pleading with public officials for a year to help me protect my daughter, in July 2024, my daughter was hurt while in her father's care. The doctors would later confirm it wasn't an accident, could not have been caused by a fall like he suggested, hitting her face on the concrete, or normal toddler play. CPS would later substantiate that he physically abused her and file a complaint against him in juvenile court. But instead of protecting her, they protected him. They ignored the evidence from those that specialize in physical child abuse and evaluated this case. And when I refused to send her back to him, when I demanded that the system follow its own laws, they didn't hold him accountable. Instead, they punished me. CPS would demand that I had to send my daughter back to her abuser because he successfully completed classes and appeared to be a great father during a 2-hour supervised visit every week. I refused, and in response, they sent police to my door. They told me I had 2 choices. I could hand my daughter over to them, or I would go to jail.
Contacted the Idaho State Police. One started the investigation. I was contacted by his superior that they will not be looking into the matter. I have contacted Idaho Legal Aid that is supposed to help with cases. They said, we can't help with this. This is criminal. The police tell me that they can't help with this. This is civil. This is full-on criminal to have people withholding this kind of evidence.
Okay, if I may follow up.
Okay, go ahead and follow up.
So when they said they would not pursue it, was there a reason given that they would not pursue it?
Ms. Adams?
It's civil.
It was a civil action is what their answer was, not a criminal action.
That's
Is that
what
right?
they're saying. But but that is criminal. That is against Idaho law to conceal evidence. An officer go into a trial, custody trial or not, that is a trial. Swear in as an officer. And when asked if the child ever reported sexual abuse, and she says no, and when she is asked, is there police body cam with the other parents saying that they do allow drugs, they do give them drugs, and they think she was raped but didn't take her in for a rape kit, and nobody has investigated anything. And when that officer says no, that's a crime.
Okay. Is that all? Thank you for your testimony today, Ms. Adams.
What if the system sworn to protect us is the one breaking the law? This is happening right now in Monroe County, Florida, and almost every state inside the United States. In my case, there was a tri-county conspiracy whereby 3 bordering counties were involved in taking unlawful actions in force against us. It has been 2 years since I've spoken to my son, who was 8 at the time of the unlawful removal, which was essentially a last-ditch effort to silence me for speaking the truth about rights violations and unlawful force, to which I have a large paper trail. I was terrified, and so were my children, And we still are. And we're still being tortured by the separation and the fact that my son expected that his mother would protect him. It tears me up inside. All I want is for my son to know that I have not abandoned him. I knew what they were trying to do. So not only were they trying to traffic my son, but they were trying to traffic me as well. I have multiple emails and documents, as well as some voice recordings and video footage that support their intimidations and excessive force from various government entities throughout the state, plus their complete disregard for due process as well as other forms of abuse. My case involves judges like Chief Judge Bonnie Helms, the final say in the judicial system in Monroe County, as well as another judge, Mark Wilson. Then there were the guardian ad litem and the Department of Children and Families, with such officials as Teresa Glover, the regional area supervisor for the lower half of the state of Florida. In addition to the child protective investigators, Kathy Vostry, who falsified tests and statements and forced me to sign a packet of papers under duress while she lied about my violent nature. And then Jean Curtis, who doesn't seem to actually check out with any kind of CPI licensure in the state. However, she was the one who represented the Department of Children and Families when she deceived us by stating, "We have no reason to take your children. We just want to get you some hotel money." She did this so that I would agree to meet her at the Department of Children and Families office. They kidnapped my children and trafficked my son Kyle through adoption. When they appointed an attorney to me at a hearing that I was never aware of, they appointed an attorney without my presence, which means that it's an unlawful appointment. At that court date, they put a no contact order in between me and my children, keeping me from them completely, and they had been stripped away from me. They had no idea what was happening. My name is Reagan Bourgault, a whistleblower victimized by government corruption and the family courts. I've witnessed firsthand how officials manipulate the justice system for profit. This is not isolated. It's a pattern of false claims, constitutional violations, and systemic corruption funded by your tax dollars. Behind every falsity is a child, a family, or a citizen whose rights are destroyed, and in some cases, silenced forever.